Welcome. Today isn't an accident. If you're watching this, it's because you were meant to, not yesterday, not tomorrow, but right now, in this very moment. Maybe you've lost something. Maybe you're questioning your path, your purpose, or your pain. Maybe you've been asking God, why are you silent? Listen carefully, because what you're hearing isn't just another video. It's a message from above, not from me, but from the one who created you and still has a plan for you, no matter your past, your mistakes, or your beliefs. This message is for you. In the next few minutes, you'll begin to see why things fell apart, why the silence mattered, why your pain wasn't punishment, and what comes next. This might be the moment that changes everything. So take a deep breath and let your heart listen, because sometimes, the voice you've been waiting for doesn't sound like thunder, it sounds like this. You've been carrying something heavy, maybe for months, maybe for years, a quiet pain that no one sees, because you've become so good at pretending. You smile at work, you laugh with friends, but when night comes and the world goes silent, your thoughts grow louder than your strength. Maybe you lost someone. Maybe someone broke your heart. Maybe your dreams shattered even after you gave everything you had. Maybe you're just tired of being strong when no one checks if you're still breathing inside. You've prayed, you've cried, you've screamed into your pillow, and still nothing. No sign. No answer. You whispered, God, where are you? And maybe, just maybe, you started to believe that he forgot you. But here's the truth no one told you: sometimes God ends your plans not to hurt you but to protect you. What you were building was about to break you. You were chasing people who didn't love you, stepping into places you didn't belong, holding on to dreams that were never yours to carry. So he removed them not as punishment, but as protection. He saw what you couldn't. You saw the moment, he saw the future. And now you're here, still breathing, still fighting, and that alone is proof you're already in process. He was working while you were weeping, preparing you while you were breaking, listening even when he said nothing. You thought it was over, but it was just the beginning. The pain that tried to destroy you is becoming the reason you'll rise. So remember this: put God first before success, before revenge, before anyone's opinion, because when God is first, everything else finds its place, even if it takes time. Maybe you're still afraid of what's next, afraid of uncertainty, afraid of being left behind. But tell me, when was the future ever certain? We worry about what we can't control, forgetting that control was never ours. All we can truly do is surrender, not give up, but surrender. Surrender your pain, your expectations, your timeline, and trust that what's meant for you will find you. It always does, from doors you never knocked on, at times you least expect. You are not too late, not too broken, not forgotten. You are being built in silence, in confusion, in the dark. God doesn't show the whole plan, because if he did, you'd run from it, not toward it. So instead, he gives one step, then another. That's not delay, that's love. And right now, he's whispering, just trust me. You're closer than you think. You gave everything, your time, your effort, your heart. You worked tirelessly, prayed sincerely, and did right even when it was hard, and still, it failed. The relationship ended, the job never came, the healing didn't happen, and the people you loved walked away. Deep down, you wondered, if I gave my best, if I believed so much, why didn't it work? Maybe you thought God was punishing you, ignoring you, or blessing others instead. But here's what no one explained: it didn't fail because you weren't enough, it failed because it wasn't your destiny. It didn't work because it wasn't meant to. You were praying for the wrong door to open, and when it stayed shut, you thought you were forgotten. But sometimes, unanswered prayers are divine protection. That relationship you lost, you don't know what it could have done to your peace. That job that rejected you, you don't know what trap you were saved from. That person who left, you don't know what God saw behind closed doors. You were mourning a broken plan, while God was busy constructing a better one. He's not just the God of your today, He's the God of your forever. You only see the moment, He sees the entire map. So when He was silent, it wasn't to hurt you. It was to guide you. He doesn't build on weak foundations. He removes what's unstable, delays what's not ready, and breaks what would have broken you. That's why nothing worked, because something better was being built inside you. You wanted change around you, but God wanted transformation within you. You prayed, "Change my situation," and He whispered, "Let me change your soul." The waiting, the confusion, the loss, all of it was preparation. God never wastes pain, He uses it. Your silence built your strength, your rejection gave you direction, your delay built depth, and your heartbreak gave you heart. You weren't being punished, you were being prepared. Prepared for something bigger, deeper, lasting. And to you, the one watching this in silence, thinking you failed, you didn't. You did your best. It didn't work because it wasn't supposed to. You're not being left behind, you're being led forward by a plan that never fails. You asked for a blessing, but He gave you a lesson, not because He's cruel, but because lessons last longer than blessings. So stop asking, "What if it had worked?" It didn't, and that's your greatest gift. One day, you'll look back and say, "I'm glad it didn't work, because if it had, I wouldn't be who I am today." You don't have to understand the process, you just have to trust the hands shaping it. That's faith, not understanding everything, but surrendering anyway. Let's be honest. You want answers. You want signs. You want to know if this pain is leading anywhere or if you've been waiting for nothing. You're tired of fake hope and empty comfort. You want something real. Here's the truth. The most powerful plans of God often begin in silence, invisible at first. If He showed you everything, you'd doubt it, resist it, or try to control it. That's why He doesn't give full explanations, He gives quiet preparation. When a tree begins to grow, its roots push deep into the dark earth before anything appears above ground. For weeks, sometimes months, there's nothing to see. But beneath the surface, the roots are spreading, the foundation is forming. Then one day, without warning, that tree breaks through the soil and reaches for the sky. Your life is the same. You don't see results yet because God is still growing your roots, your strength, your wisdom, your capacity to carry what you've prayed for. Because without roots, your success would crush you. You're not waiting for nothing. You're being made ready. And I know you're wondering, how long? What if nothing ever changes? But remember, faith isn't built in comfort, it's built in mystery. If you understood it all, it wouldn't be faith, it would be control. God doesn't want your control, He wants your trust. Not blind faith, but mature faith, the kind that says, "Even when I see nothing, I believe something is happening." Sometimes the plan is the process. It's not always about reaching a destination, sometimes it's about who you become on the way there. Look back for a moment at what you thought would destroy you but didn't, at who left but made you stronger, at what failed but taught you faith, and realize it was all preparation for what's next. Let me give you the answer your soul already knows. The quiet seasons are not empty, they are holy. These are the moments when God performs His deepest work inside of you. On the outside, nothing may seem to change, but within, you are being molded, sharpened, cleansed, and strengthened for something greater. And though you may not understand it all today, though the pain still feels heavy and your heart still feels forgotten, remember this: you are not forgotten, you are hidden. Hidden from people who would have used you. Hidden from environments that would have broken you. Hidden from timing that would have crushed you. You are not behind, you are being positioned. Positioned for something that demands more strength, more depth, and more faith than you've ever had before. That's why the plan seems invisible right now, because it's not finished yet. God doesn't reveal half-done work, He completes it in silence, then unveils it in power. So don't fear what you cannot see. Don't be afraid to walk through the dark, because the dark is where stars shine brightest. The unknown is where faith becomes real, and the silence is where God does His loudest work. You asked for a clear plan, but God is giving you something better, a stronger heart, a deeper soul, a foundation that no storm can destroy. And when the moment finally comes, it won't just be a blessing, it will be a confirmation. A confirmation that every tear, every delay, every sleepless night was never wasted. You'll realize the plan wasn't missing, it was maturing. And now, so are you. When life breaks you, it's preparing you. You didn't break because you were weak, you broke because you were being shaped for strength. There are moments when everything you thought was stable collapses, people you trusted leave, dreams you fought for fade, and everything you believed would last disappears. And when that happens, it doesn't just hurt, it transforms you. You stop trusting, you stop dreaming, you stop believing that good things can happen again. You start asking, what's the point of trying, if everything eventually breaks? Quietly, you begin to build walls, not because you want to, but because you're tired of bleeding. You've carried betrayal in your chest, walked with disappointment like it was normal, and learned to smile while silently drowning. But here's what the world never told you: life had to break you because soft hearts cannot carry heavy callings. The pain wasn't sent to destroy you, it was meant to shape you. You weren't being cut down, you were being carved out. A diamond can't form without pressure, gold can't shine without fire, and souls can't rise without first falling apart. God wasn't trying to hurt you, he was stripping away what was false, weak, and temporary. You had to lose some people because their love wasn't real. You had to fall because your foundation wasn't steady. You had to go through storms because they were the only things strong enough to cleanse you. It had to happen not to break you down, but to wake you up. You were never meant to live a small life, never meant to dim your light to be accepted, never meant to depend on people who never prayed for you. That's why it all fell apart. God couldn't let you build your future on false ground. He couldn't allow you to keep living in circles or settling for less than what he created you for. The pain wasn't punishment, it was divine intervention, pulling you away from what was never meant for you. Yes, it felt cruel. It felt unfair. It felt like everything was collapsing at once. But in that exact moment when it seemed like you had nothing left, you were being reborn. Not in a religious sense, but in a soul-deep transformation. The version of you that begged for approval, that feared being alone, that depended on validation, that version had to break, so the real you could rise. The one who walks by faith, who trusts what God is doing even when nothing makes sense. Sometimes the pain doesn't fade quickly, sometimes the process feels endless, but that's because something deep is unfolding within you. You're not just recovering, you're rebuilding. You're learning to protect your peace, to love without begging, to choose growth over comfort, and to be still while remaining strong. When life breaks you, two paths appear: you can become bitter, or you can become blessed. Pain can harden your heart, or it can open your spirit. The choice is yours. But if you're watching this now, if you've made it this far, then your soul is ready to choose healing. You didn't come this far to stay broken. You didn't survive the fire just to go back to who you were. You made it because something inside you refused to quit, that quiet voice that said, "This isn't the end. I don't know how, but I will rise again." And here you are. Not perfect. Not fully healed. But still standing, and that means you're not defeated, you're being reshaped. Broken dreams don't mean your purpose is gone. They mean your old direction has ended and a new one is beginning. You're being given gifts you didn't ask for: strength, vision, patience, discernment, and most of all, faith. So if life broke you, if people hurt you, if everything fell apart and you no longer recognize yourself, know this: you are exactly where you need to be, in the middle of transformation. And when you rise from this season, you won't just be stronger, you'll be clearer, calmer, and called not by the world, but by the one who allowed the breaking so he could rebuild you without anything fake left inside. Don't be ashamed of your brokenness, it's your testimony, your rebirth. The most beautiful souls aren't the ones who never bled, but the ones who bled and still chose to love again. You are not broken beyond repair, you are being rebuilt for a purpose beyond understanding. And one day, you'll look back and thank the pain not because it was easy, but because it led you to become the strongest version of yourself, the one you were always meant to be. There's something sacred about silence. It doesn't feel like love. It doesn't sound like comfort. It feels like abandonment, like being ignored, like no one, not even God, cares. And maybe that's where you are right now, praying and hearing nothing, hoping and seeing nothing, holding on while everything slips through your hands. You've whispered, "God, where are you? Why are you letting this happen? Why do I feel so alone?" But the silence doesn't mean absence, it means He's still working, just quietly, perfectly, and in ways you can't yet see. But here's what your pain never told you: He was there all along. Not in the noise, not in the thunder, but in the stillness, in the quiet, in the invisible spaces where faith is born. Because the greatest miracles don't make a sound. A seed breaks open in silence. A heart begins to heal in silence. And God often moves in silence. While you were breaking, He was building. While you were losing, He was removing what couldn't go with you. While you were crying, He was collecting every tear, not one was wasted. You thought He forgot you, but in truth, He was protecting you from false friends, from dangerous paths, from the things you begged for that would have broken your soul. He didn't say yes because He loved you too much to give you what you weren't ready for. And now, you are stronger not because the pain stopped, but because you didn't. You're still here, not by accident, but by divine timing, still breathing, still hoping, still standing, even after everything tried to bury you. And you've arrived at this moment for one reason: to finally understand that you were never alone. Even in the deepest valley, even when no one called, even when you had nothing left to give, God never left your side. Not once. Not for a second. He let you fall, but not to the ground. He let you break, but only to rebuild you without the lies. He let you feel lost so you would stop looking around and finally look up. Because the truth is, you were depending on things that could not save you. And now, you are being called to something greater: not comfort, not safety, not approval, but purpose. So what do you do now, now that you've seen the truth, now that you know the silence wasn't the end but the beginning? You do the one thing the world fears most: you surrender. Not give up, not run away, but surrender your need to control, your need to understand everything, your fear of the future, your anger about the past. You take every broken piece of yourself and place it in God's hands, whispering, "I don't know what's next, but I trust you with everything." And then, you begin again, quietly, slowly, but this time with peace. You stop asking when. You stop begging why. You stop comparing your timeline to others. You stop chasing what was never meant for you. And you start walking not with answers, but with faith. Faith that what's for you will not miss you. Faith that closed doors were not rejection, but direction. Faith that the silence was not abandonment, but protection. And every day, you do the one thing you were created for: you put God first. Not success, not relationships, not opinions, but the one who gave you breath and trusted you to carry this pain for a purpose. Because if you're still here, it means your story isn't over. It means the worst day of your life was not your last chapter. Let me tell you a short story about what true faith really looks like, even in the middle of a storm. There was once a brave naval officer who had just married. Soon after the wedding, he took his wife along on his first voyage across the ocean. It was her first time at sea. Everything was peaceful: blue skies, calm waves, soft winds. But suddenly, a violent storm rose. The sky turned black, waves grew taller than the ship, thunder roared, lightning flashed in every direction. Panic spread among the passengers: some cried, some prayed, but one man stood completely calm, the sailor. His wife, terrified, clutched his arm and cried, "My dear husband, how are you so calm? Don't you see the danger? Aren't you afraid we might die?" The sailor looked at her gently, then without a word, drew his sword and placed the sharp blade at her neck. Her body froze, but her eyes didn't show fear. He softly asked, "Are you afraid now?" She smiled through her tears and said, "No, because I trust you. I know this sword is deadly, but I also know your heart. You would never hurt me." The sailor nodded and whispered, "And that's how I feel about this storm. It may look deadly, but I trust the one who controls it." That's what faith truly is, not the absence of storms, but peace within them, because you trust the one holding your life. It doesn't matter how dark the sky gets, how loud the thunder roars, or how high the waves rise. If you trust God like that wife trusted her husband, you will not fear. Not because the situation is safe, but because His love is stronger than the storm. Now, hear this: what should you do next? Here are 4 truths to carry forward, not as advice, but as commands from love itself. 1. Stop fighting your past. Let it go. It's done. You don't need to fix what already fell apart, you just need to rise with new eyes and a healed heart. 2. Focus on your work, not the outcome. Forget about victory or defeat, stay faithful to your duty. Obedience brings miracles, discipline invites peace. 3. Surrender your future. It was never yours to control. The future is uncertain, so why waste your soul worrying? Stay present, stay faithful, and let God open the doors meant for you in His perfect time. 4. Never forget this: sometimes God will destroy your plans because He saw they were about to destroy you. Don't cry over broken plans, celebrate the divine rescue. You've carried enough. You've endured enough. Now it's time to rise, not with force or anger, but with faith. Faith that you are not behind. Faith that nothing you went through was wasted. Faith that every prayer was heard. Faith that something beautiful is on the way, something written just for you. You may not have seen the full plan, but now you've seen enough to believe that God was working in silence. Not behind your back, but behind the scenes. Not to delay your blessings, but to prepare you to hold them. And when they come, you'll be ready, not because you understood everything, but because you walked through the fire and refused to give up. So keep going with peace in your chest, with light in your soul, and with quiet confidence that God still has a plan for you. If you stayed till the end, this message was meant for you, not just to hear, but to remember. You are not alone. You are not forgotten. You are not too late. God is still writing your story, and the next chapter will be more beautiful than you can imagine. He will give you peace that no one can take away. He will send blessings you never even asked for. And one day soon, He will give you something you never imagined but always deserved. So don't lose hope. Keep trusting. Keep walking. And no matter how silent it feels, remember, He is closer than ever. I pray that you heal where no one sees. I pray that you are guided when you feel lost. I pray that you receive everything your soul has been waiting for. May God bless you with peace that doesn't make sense, and a future that feels like home. And if this message touched you, even one word, one tear, one breath, then know this: you were meant to hear it. God is not finished with you. What's coming is beyond anything you've ever dreamed, and it's almost here.